Who are you? How did we get here? What's going on? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do something different. We're going to look at the complete history of the Wars of the Roses. But not just any Wars of the Roses. No. This is going to be the Wars of the Roses in 60 seconds. And if that doesn't make you intrigued enough, then I don't know what will. So let's dive right in. Alright, so first things first. Wars of the Roses was an extended period of civil war fought between two factions of the English nobility from 1455 to 1487. Now these two factions were the House of Lancaster and the House of York, hence the name Wars of the Roses. Each house was signified by their respective badges, which you can see here, a red rose for Lancaster and a white rose for York. The fighting was extremely brutal, but the reason behind it is actually fairly simple, really. It all boils down to one thing: the throne. Both houses wanted the throne, both believed they had the right to it, and neither was willing to back down. The Lancastrian dynasty began with King Henry IV in 1399. The Yorkist dynasty began with Richard, Duke of York, in 1460. See where this is going yet? Henry Tudor, last of the Lancastrians, died in battle in 1461 and was succeeded by Edward IV, first of the Yorks. But just before his death, Henry handed over his title to his son, who at that point was only 12 years old. After Henry's death, young Henry was proclaimed king, but he wasn't crowned. Edward took control of the government and effectively ruled as regent until 1465, when he officially had himself crowned king. You're probably thinking, what does this mean? He was king, but not king. Well, what this means is that Henry remained a symbolic figurehead, while Edward actually held the reins of power. And when you look at it like that, it's clear why the Lancastrians never backed down. Still had a king, albeit a young and inexperienced one, and they weren't about to let York take the throne without a fight. Fighting erupted into open warfare in 1455 with the First Battle of St. Albans. The first Lancastrian victory came at the Battle of Denny's in 1460, but it wasn't enough to turn the tide of the war. In fact, it only emboldened the Yorks. Under the leadership of Richard, Duke of York, the Yorks went on to win several major battles, including the Second Battle of St. Albans, the Battle of Towton, and the Battle of Hexham. By 1464, most of England north of the Thames was under Yorkist control. The Lancastrians were pushed back to Wales and were forced to seek the aid of the French. But even with French support, the Lancastrians were unable to regain any ground. Henry VI, the Lancastrian king, died in 1471, and Edward IV was finally able to declare himself King of England. But the wars were far from over. There was still one more Lancastrian claimant, Henry's younger brother, the Earl of Richmond. The Yorkists tried to eliminate him once and for all, but he managed to escape to Brittany and rally the French to his cause. In 1475, the tides of war turned again. Richmond returned to England with a French army and won a decisive victory at the Battle of Edgecote. Edward IV fled to London, but soon fell ill and died there in 1470. His brother, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, succeeded him and became Richard III. Richard continued Edward's policies, but he proved to be less capable. Richard's reign lasted only 2 years. In 1471, Richmond invaded England again, and this time Richard was forced to flee. He was killed at the Battle of Bosworth Field on August 1485, and Richmond was crowned King Henry VII. The Wars of the Roses had come to an end. With Henry VII's victory, the two houses merged. Henry married Elizabeth of York, uniting the red and white roses and ending the Plantagenet dynasty. The Tudors would go on to rule England for the next 17 years until the death of Henry VIII. So that's it. That is the complete history of the Wars of the Roses in 60 seconds. I hope you enjoyed this quick little breakdown. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button below. And hey, if you want to keep the party going, I highly recommend checking out our series on the Tudors, which covers the Wars of the Roses in much greater detail. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with a tub of ice cream and a murder mystery novel. If you found this interesting or learned something new, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content like this. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload.